We're looking at V10 today, which is evaluating integers raised to rational exponents. In other words, the exponent is a fraction instead of a whole number. I put this here to remind you what this is going to look like as we move through. So A is your base, and remember N is the root, and M is the exponent you're going to raise your result to when you're done. So let's go ahead and jump in. We've got number 1 here, and it's 1 raised to the 1/2 power. So really what that's saying is take the square root of 1 and raise it to the first power. Well, the square root of 1, I'm thinking what number multiplied by itself or what number doubled gives me 1? Well, it's 1. And 1 raised to the first power is 1. So our answer would be 1. Number 2, we have 16 raised to the 1/2 power. So we're saying, okay, we're going to take the square root of 16, and we're going to take that result and raise it to the first power. Well, the square root of 16 is 4, because 4 doubled gives me 16, and 4 to the first power is 4. Number 3, we have 81 to the 1/4 power. So this time we're going to take the 4th root of 81, and then we're going to take that result and raise it to the first power. Well, here, the 4th root of 81, if you take 81 and you think about, okay, this is what I do when I don't know exactly what the number is. Now, hopefully you've memorized these, and I do really know the answer. But this is how I think. I go, okay, well, if it's the 4th root, that means I had to raise the number to the 4th power. So I'll go, okay, well, 2 to the 4th power is 16. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. That's too low. Then I move up to the next number. Well, 3 to the 4th power would be 3, then 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. That's 3 to the 3rd power. And then 27 times 3 is 81, which is 3 to the 4th power. So that means that the 4th root of 81 is 3. And I'm going to raise that to the first power, which gives me 3. So now we've got 64 raised to the 1/3 power. So I'm going to take the cubed root of 64. I'm going to take that result and raise it to the first power. Well, I do the same thing. If I didn't know this, which I do, I would say, okay, well, I know that 3 to the 3rd power was 27. That was too low. So then I would move to the next number. Well, 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. So I know that 4 is the cubed root of 64, and I'm going to raise that to the first power, and that gives me 4. Number 5, we've got 243 to the 1/5 power. So I'm going to take the 5th root of 243. And I take that result and raise it to the first power. Well, let's see. I know it's not going to be 2 because all of those would be even. And then when we did 3 to the 4th power, that was 81. And 81 times 3 is 243. So this answer would be 3 to the first power, which is 3. Now, if you're in awe or enamored by what I'm doing, guys, this is just number sense. You just play with the numbers. That's all. There's no magic in it. You just play with the numbers, and pretty soon you'll come up with your own way of figuring out what these numbers are. So 64 to the 1/6 power. So I'm taking the 6th root of 64, and I'm going to raise it to the first power. Well, it's even, so I could start with 2. And I know 2 to the 5th power is 32. So 2 to the 6th power, 32 times 2 is 64. So my answer would be 2 raised to the first power, which is 2. Look at number 7. 16 to the 1/4 power means I'm going to take the 4th root of 16 and raise that answer to the 1st power. Well, this one's a pretty easy one. It's 2. And we're going to take 2, raise it to the 1st power, and that gives us 2. Let's look at 8. Oh, this is a great one. 64 to the 5/6 power. We're not going to change our process. We're going to do exactly what we've been doing. So we're going to take the 6th root of 64, and we're going to raise that answer to the 5th power. So the 6th root of 64, we already know is 2. Because 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 times 2 is 32, and 32 times 2 is 64. That's 6 2's. And so now I'm going to take that 2 and I'm going to raise it to the 5th power. Well, we just counted that. 2 to the 5th power is 32. So now we've got, let's go ahead and put this down a little bit. Number 9. (16) to the 7/4 power. We're going to take the 4th root of 16, take that result and raise it to the 7th power. So the 4th root of 16, what number 4 times gives us 16? Well, that's 2. And then we're going to take 2 and raise it to the 7th power. Well, we know 2 to the 6th power is 64. So 2 to the 7th power is 128. Number 10 gives us 64 to the 4/3 power. So we're going to take the cube root of 64 and we're going to take that result and raise it to the 4th power. So the cube root of 64, of course, is not going to be 2 because it takes too many 2's to make 64. So 3 would not be it because 3 to the 3rd power is 27. So let's try 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. So our root then would be, the cube root of 64 is 4. Take that and raise it to the 4th power. So 64 times 4 is 256, I believe. Let me do it over here. 64 times 4 is 256. I was right. All right. Number 11. We've got 216 raised to the 2/3 power. So we're going to take the cube root of 216, raise that result to the 2nd power. So we're thinking what number multiplied by itself 3 times gives us 216? Well, we know it has to be higher than 4. And 5 won't work because it would end in an odd number. Let's try 6. So 6 times 6 is 36. And 36 times 6 is 216. So the answer would be 6. And then we square that result and we get 36. Then for number 12, we've got 256 raised to the 5/5 power. So we're going to take the 4th root of 256. We're going to take that result and raise it to the 5th power. So we're thinking what number 4 times gives us 256? Well, let's see. 6, 3 times gave us 216, so that's too high. Because if we did 6 4 times, that's going to be way, I mean, that's like 900 and something or 800 and something, whatever it is. So it has to be less than 6. It can't be 5 because this doesn't end in 5. So let's try 4. We know that 4 cubed is 64. So what would happen if we took 64 times 4? It's 256. We already have it up there. Yay! So our root would be 4. And now we're going to raise that to the 5th power. Well, let's see. We know 4 to the 4th power is 256. So take 256 and multiply it by 4. You get 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2. 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2. That's 22, carry the 2. 2 times 4 is 8, carry the 2. 2 plus 8 is 10. So this would be 1024. And actually this information is on your chart that we did. I'm just doing it without the chart. So number 13, we have -1 raised to the 1/3 power. Don't panic. We're taking the third root of -1. Now, you can take an odd root of a negative number. That's okay, because a negative times a negative times a negative is going to be a negative. So we're going to take that result and raise it to the first power. So the cube root of -1 is simply -1. And if we take -1 and raise it to the first power, we get -1. We'll make this one the last one. So we've got -8 raised to the 1/3 power. So I'm going to take the cube root of -8 and I'm going to raise that to the first power. Well, what negative number tripled gives you -8? Well, that would be -2 raised to the first power is -2. All right. We will stop right here. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If you need to, watch the video again. It's for you. I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.